Okay, y'all, it's hot in my room, so the fan's staying on, because if not, you're gonna see some nice mustache sweat. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kate and I'm a first-year high school biology teacher, and in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing 5 tips so you can succeed in your teacher preparation program. So let's just get into the video. Okay, so like I mentioned, my name is Kate. I'm a first-year high school biology teacher, and I just finished my 1-year accelerated MAT program, which is a Master's in Arts of Teaching, because I already had my degree in biology and I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. So I went back and I got my degree in teaching. So yes, so that's kind of where I'm getting all these tips from. And I did a 1-year accelerated, like I mentioned, so it was a lot. But I do believe that these tips are applicable if you are a freshman in college just starting out on your teaching education journey. So yeah, let's just get into the tips. Okay, tip number 1 is to get organized. And this may seem redundant if you are starting grad school or you're doing an MAT program, but if you're a freshman in college, my biggest tip for you, and that's why it's my first tip, is to really figure out how you want to go about doing your teacher prep program and how you want to organize yourself. If you want to use binders and print everything and put it in a binder, if you want to work digitally, if you want to get a paper-based planner, if you want to do an electronic planner, if you have an iPad or a Surface Book. Me personally, I kind of like doing both. I put all of my assignments in a virtual calendar as well as in here. That way I can get an alert or a notification on my computer when something is due. But I mainly use a paper-based planner. It's something I've been doing forever. And you don't have to get something like an Erin Condren Life Planner or a teacher lesson planner. You just have to get something that works for you. These are recent purchases I got for myself. Well, this one was a gift from my sister. This is something that I got for myself because it's personal. This is solely for teaching. You don't have to do all this. This is not what you have to do unless you look at these layouts and they think they work best for you. I personally, all throughout college, just went on Amazon or to Target and got like a $7.99, $10 planner because that's what worked for me. And you just have to find something that works for you, but really get organized. And if you're someone who's never used a planner before, I highly recommend that you get a planner now because there's so many responsibilities and assignments that you have to keep track of, internship hours or, observation hours, things that you really should get organized into some kind of planning system. And there are so many videos out there on how to help you get organized, but my tip is just to make sure you figure out something that works for you and do it sooner rather than later. And it will evolve over time as you figure out your planning style, but get started now. That's my tip number 1. Okay, tip number 2, and this one may seem a little bit intimidating if you are a freshman in college, but it is to make connections, and that includes making connections with your professors, faculty members in your department, with the deans of your school, with supervisors, with whoever, honestly. And the reason for this, and especially as someone who is an education major, is a lot of the professors you will have been teachers previously, probably and maybe in local school districts. All of the teachers or all of the professors I had in college were teachers, and all of my deans in my school, most of them held positions in school districts, whether it would be teachers or administration positions, so that they have really great connections. So from the very beginning, try to familiarize yourself with as many professors and get to know them. Don't just be their student, try and be their colleague, because education is a collaborative field. So as a freshman, my tip for you is to just get to know as many professors as you can. Introduce yourself in the hallway, say hi to them if you see them, if you're a professor, not just during their set time. It's important to build those relationships and build those connections, and as you go through your years, sophomore, junior, see if they have research positions, see if they have internship positions, see if you can do alternative work with them, some kind of outreach project. Try and build those connections. I mean, even the professors I had as a bio major, I was able to build great relationships with them where I was able to do research, get an internship. Those things are important, and especially if you guys go to bigger state schools, those relationships are more important than ever because you are in a cohort with probably hundreds of people and you need to stand out, and you stand out by being personable and making those connections. And honestly, if you are a shy and timid person, which is totally okay, I am quite shy in a way, gravitate towards teachers who share the same teaching philosophy, who get on well with your personality, and don't be afraid to meet new people, and don't be afraid to build relationships with your professors who can possibly get you a job one day. So that is my tip number 2. Tip number 3, and this one is also very important. This one pertains to exposing yourself to as many different teaching strategies as you possibly can that aren't directly related to your content area. Now, if you're someone who, again, is new to college, new to the education program, and you're in some kind of teacher prep, which you should be if you're watching this video, you're going to be taking a lot of different classes depending on your preparation program. For me in particular, my classes pertain to general education for just teaching in general, and then they focused in more specifically to my content area, which is science, and then down to biology. Now, there's a big push throughout the country, and very specifically in my state of New Jersey, to do STEAM education, which used to be called STEM. It's science, technology, engineering, art, and math, and really kind of putting together an interdisciplinary curriculum that brings in all kinds of different subject areas. Now, there's a push for those things, but they're not teaching them in teacher preparation programs. There's not, at least in my school and many schools that I know of, don't do a specific STEAM class. And this is relevant for elementary education majors as well, because for the most part, you guys are teaching multiple different subject areas. So try and get as familiar as you can with different teaching strategies in those content areas. And this really pertains to if you're high school or middle school, because you guys may be history teachers or you want to become a history teacher, but there's so many more different strategies that may be beneficial to you that you may not know about because you were never taught it. So how you can go about finding new strategies is reading articles, research articles about the best teaching practices for your content area, but also the best teaching practices for education in general. And if you guys are biology teachers or want to become biology teachers, it really is an interdisciplinary field. And I have to incorporate so many elements of math and history and English especially into my curriculum, and I was never taught how to do those things in my teacher prep. We did have one assignment where we had to build a STEAM lesson plan and curriculum, which was great, but there was no one course dedicated to teaching me how to help students write a lab report, which is English, how to help students solve math equations like Hardy-Weinberg, which is math, or teaching the history of science, which is history. So those teaching strategies are so important, and it's up to you sometimes to really be your own advocate for your own education and research and learn about as many different teaching strategies as you can. So that is my tip number 3. It's starting to thunderstorm, so if you guys hear the thunderstorm, that's what it is. Okay, tip number 4, and this kind of goes along with tip number 3, but this is more specific. In your teacher prep program, there's going to be required classes. There's also going to be electives you can take. I highly recommend that you guys take electives in special education and in multicultural education. The reason for this is you may not have to take those classes, but they are so incredibly important. The push for learning special education, especially in New Jersey, which has one of the best special education program systems in the country. It's almost required in certain states like New Jersey to have a special ed certification. I personally don't, but I took 9 credits of special ed on my own choice. I had to take at least one intro to special ed, but the other ones were electives actually. Did I take 3? I think I actually took more. But the reason why I did that is because even though I'm not getting my special ed endorsement, I'm still going to have a student that has an IEP or a 504. And what an IEP and a 504 is, if you guys don't know because you're just starting your teacher prep program, an IEP or a 504 is an individualized education plan for a student that needs accommodations or modifications to their learning or to the classroom to best fit their learning needs. So I didn't know that until I took it into the special education course, and I really gotten deeper on how to teach students with special needs as I did more special education electives. And that was voluntary. I'm very happy that I did that because I ended up being hired at a school where I have to teach a resource biology class, which is solely made up of kids that have IEPs and 504s. So you never know what you're gonna end up teaching, where you're gonna end up teaching, and I think the reason why I was able to get hired without a special education endorsement in New Jersey is because I'm high school bio, which is a very in-demand teacher. They just don't have enough of them that are being, trained. There's just not enough of them. So we already have a teacher shortage, but math and science are the hardest teachers to find and hire. So I didn't have to get a special education endorsement, but I am prepared to get one eventually. I only need a few more credits to get it. So doing that is so important because it helps build your teaching portfolio, it widens your perspective, it builds your pedagogy. So it's just so important to take as many different classes as you can that aren't required of you that pertain to special education and multicultural education. Very important. Tip number 5. Now, this one is also very important, and it's to build your portfolio now. If you start school next week or you starting your MAT program in September, build your teaching portfolio now. And the reason why I say this is because every single interview I had, and they were all done virtually, I made sure that I had my teaching portfolio in my hand ready to show them that I have made and designed lessons that were applicable to the job I was applying to. So for me it was biology, but not just biology, but they had lesson plans that were STEAM oriented. So if you have to do a STEAM project where you make a STEAM lesson plan, put that in your teaching portfolio. I had to do lesson plans for honors, CP, and resource biology, so I had those in there. I had to do a special education lesson plan for teaching students with IEPs and 504s. I had to do a lesson plan for teaching English language learners for biology. I had to do a multicultural education lesson plan, so bringing in different elements of your students' culture into your content area. I had to do a transition project plan. I put that in there. I had to do a behavior assessment plan. So literally anything that you guys do, whether that be lesson plans, worksheets, PowerPoints, projects, put it in your teaching portfolio, even things from the very beginning as a freshman, because I'm telling you right now, the lesson plans you make as a freshman in college will not be as pristine as the ones you make as a senior. And that's good because it's showing growth over time, and put those in there too, because like I just mentioned, you're showing potential employers how you've grown as a teacher and how you've learned over time as your knowledge of education in your content area has strengthened. So, and also it's a good way to reflect. You can look back at your very first lesson plan you ever made and be like, oh God, this was crap. You now a senior in college, you can say, oh wow, I really know how to target specific learning needs. I know how to help with, whatever it may be. I don't know. Oh God, that thunder was loud. Oh my gosh. But yeah, building your teaching portfolio as soon as possible. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go before the thunderstorm knocks out my power and where it's too loud and you guys can't hear me. So that's all I have for you guys today. Leave a like, comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more teaching related content. And I hope you guys have a fantastic year, whether you're starting your first year of college, your second, third, or entering your senior year. I know it's going to be hard no matter where you live with everything going on right now in the country and in the world, but just know that there are hundreds of thousands of teachers and teachers in training who are going through this with you, and we're here to support you. And in the face of adversity, teachers have always found a way to shine and be the best version of ourselves we can be for our students. So I'm proud of you no matter what, and best of luck to you this year. And yeah,